Your vision is our vision. Colecovision.
Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again. And this time we're going to look at game number 16 in our 20 from the Colecovision series. And this is the first sequel to Donkey Kong. This sequel was interesting because Mario, the protagonist of the original game, is now the antagonist. And of course this is Donkey Kong Jr. And Donkey Kong Jr. was released by Nintendo of America in the arcades in 1982. And it was released for the Colecovision by Coleco Industries Incorporated in 1983. And you played Donkey Kong's son, Donkey Kong Jr., trying to rescue his papa from the clutches of the suddenly evil Mario, who has imprisoned him. And you go through 3 various different stages. And just like most ColecoVision games, this has 8 different difficulty settings, 4 for each player. And they're the same difficulty settings from 1 player to, 2 players. But they just feature faster enemies or more intelligent enemies or more tenacious enemies than skill number 1. But we're going to play skill number 1. The 3 different settings are, there's a jungle setting, this first stage, and these things that you see, these enemies, they are traps, spring traps that Mario has released to try to kill you. And you can bludgeon these traps with fruits. And they can fall and take out more than 1 trap if there's multiple traps in its wake. There will be other enemies, but on this stage you will only see red and blue traps. The red traps will move back up a vine once it's gone to the bottom, and the blue ones just go through to drop off to the bottom. And now this is the lock and chain scene, and here you need to push the locks up into the keyholes, and those will release chains that bind Donkey Kong. And you just need to fill all the keyholes with the keys. And note that as you make Donkey Kong Jr. climb up, he can have just both hands on 1 vine, or on this stage a chain, and he will climb up slow. But if he puts a hand, or both hands on 2 chains, a hand on each chain, then he will climb quicker. And there I killed a trap with a fruit. And I make Donkey Kong Jr. hop onto these islands on this stage. And he can jump over the traps. But his goal is to get to where the vine is that has the key and just climb up. And then they will go to the next scene. And on this scene, this is the moving islands scene. I'm not sure what else you could call it. I guess the buzzard scene, because there's, I guess, buzzards that will fly at the top. Later on in the game, they will drop eggs that are deadly for Donkey Kong Jr. to touch. And you can kill these buzzards with these fruits here, if your timing's right. But note that they fly down through that little gap, and you need to not be in their way when you're coming from below. And that springboard at the beginning there, I guess there's a way to time your jump just right so that it bounces you really high, but I can never seem to get it right. But again, damn it, again, note that the red traps will move back up once they reach the bottom of a chain or vine, and the blue traps will just go right through and disappear through the bottom of the screen. Now, from what I remember of the arcade Donkey Kong Jr., the game was more forgiving in terms of being able to grab keys. If you didn't get it just right on the Colecovision version, you might not be able to grab the key. I mean, you could like put your hand halfway on the key or towards the end of the key in the arcade version, and it would register as you picking up the key and pushing it upward. And it's not so forgiving on the ColecoVision. Something else if you've played the arcade Donkey Kong Jr., you'll notice that there aren't little cute special scenes. Hey, I got two of them. At the end of the key and chain stage, they would show Donkey Kong fall down, and Donkey Kong Jr. catches him, and they both happily go off screen, and as Mario tries to follow them, Donkey Kong gives him a big old kick and sends him the other way. I thought it was hilarious. I am partial to the original Donkey Kong over Donkey Kong Jr., the arcade versions. But I kind of like Donkey Kong Jr. I played them both. I saw them a lot at the arcades. I'm not entirely sure where the first time I saw Donkey Kong Jr. was. It might have been a Chuck E. Cheese. Or it might have been at a little arcade that used to be like a few miles from where I currently live. It's long gone. It was gone by the mid-'80s. Yeah, later on in the game, and probably early on the harder stages, or on the harder skill levels, the buzzards will drop eggs, and they will fall on one of the lower islands that isn't a moving island. We'll take a look at that later. I think on the arcade original of Donkey Kong Jr., you did not have to push up when you got to the chain that had the final key on it. Donkey Kong Jr. would automatically climb up it. And you have to make him climb on the ColecoVision version. But yeah, learn the climbing mechanics of this game. Having both, whoa, they can fly really low there, so you have to watch out. Having both hands on one vine will make you climb up slower, and having a hand on each vine will make you climb faster, or descend faster. But something I didn't mention, if you have both hands on one vine, then you can slide down really fast. Now, you didn't see it happen yet, but do not fall in the water on this stage. You will die. And if you're hanging on a vine and you make yourself let go, you can fall to your death if you're fairly high up. The arcade game had a death animation of Donkey Kong Jr. It's not in this game, in the ColecoVision port. He would totally bug out and wave his arms around. It really cracked me up back in the day. And unfortunately, that's not in this. Yikes. Yeah, the traps get faster, more tenacious by this point. And if you choose one of the higher skill levels, they'll start out that way. This is a terrific port. It only does not contain one stage, and that is the, I guess it's the electrical power plant stage? Not sure what you would call it, but Donkey Kong Jr. is hounded by these electrical sparks. Now, something else that kind of annoys me about the Colecovision version is sometimes you should be able to jump up and grab a chain or a vine, and you just kind of jump through it. It's kind of annoying that that happens, but it does sometimes. Again, remember that the red traps will not fall through the bottom of a vine. They will climb back up, and the blue ones will fall through the bottom of it. But note that traps will respawn right where Mario is standing. You will die if you touch Mario. Whoops. Crap. You will notice here the amount of lives that you have. Ooh. Yep, I got all three of them. Awesome. You will notice that you have icons for the lives that you have left at the top right. And I don't know what that symbol's supposed to be, but that's your lives remaining. Whoa, that was close. On the later levels, you can kind of be stuck here for a good while you're waiting for the platform to be clear of traps. And then all of a sudden they start climbing back up, and you're like, dang it. I never go for that one fruit that's on that second to last vine. There, I made the springboard big jump. And note that they're dropping eggs now. I will, at some point, I'll let myself get splatted by an egg, but they all drop at the edge of that one platform that's non-moving. The eggs will drop right there. See? Yeah, if you're a fan of Colecovision games and you want to know which ones to collect, this is this list of my list of the top 20. Definitely check those out. And Donkey Kong Jr. would be a great pickup. This is a terrific port. Yikes! Crap. They get really fast by this point. Yeah, this was the first sequel to Donkey Kong. And there were, if not sequels, then spiritual sequels or follow-ups in Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, and then a direct sequel in Donkey Kong 3, which I was not a really big fan of. It was still popular enough, but Mario was replaced by a gardener named Stanley, and I thought it was a really bad idea, and a number of other people did too. And we had not seen him again in the Donkey Kong universe. Now, can you get the other guy? Yep. Yeah, if you run up and touch Mario, you will die. So don't do that. Just jump onto that one vine and touch the key to end the stage. And yeah, later on in the game, those traps will almost seemingly guard that platform there. But I managed to, luckily, get on there and the stage fairly quickly. Something else that seems to happen later on in the game, at least on this stage. Yeah, I'm gonna let you watch me get splatted on the head. Deadly. Something else that happens later on in this stage in the game that seems kind of unfair is I think it's harder to... Maybe Donkey Kong Jr.'s arms get shorter. Here you need to slide down onto this platform from that chain. No, not yet. At some point, it almost seems like Donkey Kong Jr.'s arms get shorter when he's going to those, reaching for those chains at the left of the moving chains. I think I had trouble reaching them at one point, and I died because I fell to my death. Yeah, a big plus for me for Donkey Kong Jr. was the hyperactive death animation, and unfortunately it's not in the Colecovision port, but it's still a great port. Like I said, the only Colecovision game I really played back in the day was Mr. Do, and I didn't play a whole lot of it. My folks had a Colecovision for a very, very short time. The systems they had the longest was Atari and Nintendo. Later on, they got a Sega Dreamcast, and an Xbox, and that might have been it for the systems they owned. When I was living there, we got our Atari 2600. I think in the Christmas of 1981. I played the hell out of that, and it was the far and away the best-selling second generation home console. Just blew away second place Colecovision and third place in television. And yeah, fourth place was I think Odyssey 2, and maybe it was tied with the Fairchild system, which came out before the Atari 2600. I think the first home console system, which would have been first generation, was the Odyssey 1, or just the Odyssey by Magnavox. I never played that. I had seen somebody had no, I think my grandparents had an Odyssey 2, but I never played it. There was a Donkey Kong Jr. cereal by Ralston Purina, I believe. Yikes, they're getting very tenacious. Ah, crap! I did not expect him to turn around like that. Well, as you can see up at the top right... Ooh, nice. This is my last life. music, sound effects, and everything, graphics, very, very close to the arcade original. I'm very, very happy with this port. Colecovision's strong point was arcade ports, and all the entries on my 20 from the Colecovision series are going to be arcade ports. Outside of the arcade ports, there wasn't a whole lot to write home about for the Colecovision. I hope you're staying safe and managing to get all the groceries and supplies that you need. I'm doing quite well. I'm still working. My job is in demand. I work for a hospital, so I'm not gonna worry about being unemployed. Oh, come on. Yeah, see, it almost seems like his arms got shorter. I thought I should have been able to catch those chains there. Well, that was Donkey Kong Jr. for the Colecovision. That is game number 16 in our 20 from the Colecovision series. Well, I thank you for watching Donkey Kong Jr. by Coleco Industries Incorporated 1983 from the arcade game in 1982 by Nintendo of America. Have a good one, everybody. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon with game number 15. Bye-bye, folks.